Those who know the history of Israel know that there came a point where they could have gone into the promised land, but they chose not to, because 10 spies of the 12 who had gone in to survey the land came back with a bad report. But there were 2 that came back with a good report. One was Joshua, and the other was a very outspoken man by the name of Caleb. And so for 40 years, the Israelites wandered in the wilderness, and only 2 men were allowed by God to enter the promised land, who were over 20 years old when that first event occurred. One was Joshua, the other Caleb. When they get in, I want you to hear what Caleb had to say. Joshua 14, verses 7 through 9. I was 40 years old when when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought him word again, as it is in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt. Yet I wholly followed the Lord my God. And Moses swore on that day, saying, surely the land on which your foot has trodden shall be an inheritance for you and for your children forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God. I want you to know today that there is a special blessing that God has when we follow him wholly, our entire being. I don't think that Joshua and Caleb were different than the other spies. They basically saw the same things the others saw. But the one difference was Joshua and Caleb kept their eyes on the Lord. And Caleb becomes an example for us of a man who, by his own admission, had one goal in life, one purpose, and that was to follow the Lord. If God said, go in and take the land, Caleb was ready to go in and take the land. Sadly enough, he had to wait 40 years. But here he is, 40 years later, ready to go in and claim the land. Why? Because God promised him. God wants us to stand up and be different, doesn't he? He wants us not to follow the crowd and give in to the fears of those around us. He wants us to know that we can trust him. We can depend on him. And if we follow him with all of our heart, he will achieve in us the plans that he has designed for us. Does that describe you today? I want it to describe me, and yet I know I'm a limited human being. But may it be said someday that you and I wholly followed the Lord.